Do you know what this is? This is a polling card. It was sent to me a few days ago, and it was a bit of a surprise, actually, that a polling card was shoved through my door, because some weeks ago I wrote to the council and said to them, would you mind awfully taking me off your electoral roll, as I'm not part of your jurisdiction? You seem to have thought that I am. I'm correcting the error there. Take me off the electoral roll. I want nothing to do with your jurisdiction. I'm not an employee of the council or indeed of the UK corporation, so please, will you remove me? Now, I get very busy, as I'm sure you do, with things to do. There's talks to give, videos to make, countryside to walk in, the sun when the chemtrails are not covering the sky in thick cloud to enjoy. And occasionally, if I'm very lucky, I get on some farmland, and these days I've been having a go at milking cows. So it comes as a bit of a surprise when the polling card came in through the door that actually I hadn't had a letter back from the council saying, yes, no problem at all, we'll take you off the electoral roll. And so I needed to sort of follow that up. So I'm going to be sending this polling card back because I don't want to have anything more to do with their system. I am what we would call it, as I'm not an employee of the council, they seem to think I am, I will resign and say I am not forced to work for you, I am not part of your jurisdiction, thank you very much, you can go and enjoy your life elsewhere without me. I am a sovereign man. And many of us watching this channel, of course, are understanding what it means to be sovereign. We've been duped the way that we've been taught at school and growing up in the communities to believing that we are one thing, a name on a birth certificate. By the way, I can't actually tell you when I was born. It's only hearsay. People tell me that I was born on a certain time, and although I was there at the birth, I was too young to appreciate it or even be able to read a calendar. So I cannot guarantee that what people say about the time I was born and the place I was born is even true. So if anybody asks you, for your birth date or anything like that, how can you actually tell them accurately? You've only got somebody else's word for it. And unfortunately, now my poor mother is dead and so is my father. So I've got nobody else's word for it. So who knows? But anyway, that's a beside the point thing. And it doesn't really matter. I know that I am alive now. And perhaps I have been alive for many generations, for many reincarnations. Who knows? Today, my soul is residing in this body. And I am sovereign. So we're all trying to work out and learn what it is to be sovereign. And a sovereign is an employee of any jurisdiction, unless, of course, he decides to. And I have not decided to join the UK corporation, and so I have no need to be voting for their employees or their executives, as it might be in the council. This one is for the election of police and crime commissioners, and indeed the election of councillors to a borough council. Nothing to do with me, so I shall return this to them. After all, voting is one of those things that employees do. Oh, please, I'll vote for you, I'll vote for you. Oh, yes, they've got to be persuaded and cajoled, and then they vote. But this is a polling card, isn't it? And when you take a poll, it's an opinion. That's all it is. It's just an opinion, a poll. For example, Moripol, they go out and do opinion things, don't they? They might say, can you tell me, are you interested? What's your opinion of warm beer? And you might be somebody who likes real ale and say, well, actually, I prefer my beer sort of room temperature, thanks very much. That might be classed as warm. Or you might be somebody who likes a cold lager. And so you have an opinion on that. And so they will poll for your opinion. And then you'll give your opinion, and that's the end of it. Now, whether they take any notice of your opinion, such as this in a poll in local elections, or indeed a general election, which is less likely that they'll take any notice of your opinion. Oh, they may go through the theatre of counting all these voting slips and sort of make out that they are, oh yes, we've got 252,000 of these going for this candidate and 252,001 for this candidate, so this candidate is. But you're not actually there. You're not the one doing the counting of all those slips, that you have no idea whether this is genuine or not, or whether it's just a bit of fakery. But either way, If you're not an employee of the UK corporation, you don't want to be part of that jurisdiction that is working for corporations and having to pay all these bills like the council tax, if that's not your area and you're sovereign and you're independent and you've got nothing to do with it, then none of that's to do with you, as indeed none of this has got to do with me. And we know the councils are corporations. They've all got Dun and Bradstreet numbers, and many have been registered on the Companies House. So it's got nothing to do with me whatsoever. So I'm going to be sending this polling card back with strict instructions to say, take me off this. I have withdrawn my services to you. And if you do not, I will probably send you an invoice for the times that I have to continually remind you to take me off your jurisdiction. And that will be it. And that will be the end of my voting. Now, I know some people will say, but Richard, if you don't vote, you don't have a voice in the community. Are you really thinking that we have a voice in the community at the moment? Are you really thinking that people have been genuinely asking for 5G towers and more surveillance? You really think that people have been asking for policemen who seem to be policy officers there to extract as much money out of you? Is that what people have been asking for from their councils? Has your council really been genuinely looking after you? Or are they there to extract as much money as physically possible from you, the way that they come down on you a ton of bricks if, for example, you're having trouble paying your council tax, which has got nothing to do with sovereign people whatsoever, the way that they'll put you into a bulk hearing so that you can't actually defend yourself, and that the council and the courts are working in conjunction with one another, showing complete bias and being a kangaroo court, the way they do all of that. That's not for me. Thank you very much. No, I want nothing more to do with it, just as I don't want to have anything more to do with the general election. You can vote in whoever you want, who wants to pretend to be some prime minister and strut up and down and make rules for those employees of the UK corporation. Nothing to do with me as a sovereign man living in my own world. It's got nothing to do with me. After all, we've seen how they treated people with these mandates and no jab, no job, having to administer these horrible things that now are causing death. We've seen how incompetent they are. I want nothing to do with any of that, so I'm not going to be voting. Plus the fact, a sovereign doesn't vote, he elects. And I'm not in their system, so I've got nobody to elect. So goodbye, Mr. Polling Card. Goodbye, this stupid jurisdiction of UK. I'm sticking with my own world as a sovereign individual. Entirely up to you what you do. Be interested in your comments.